Okay, folks, so we were going to watch the Tom Petty documentary by Peter Bogdanovich, one of my favourite directors, and we opened up the full disc set from the library, and much to our chagrin, disc one is missing.
How about that?
So we're watching, just as it happens, Dean gave me a documentary about
Townes Van Zandt.
yesterday, and so we're going to watch that instead, and we'll get back to you after the show. Fuck, wrong remote. So this is our first film review. So, Finn, thoughts?
Some thoughts. I'm just feeling quite low now.
Yeah.
It wasn't exactly an upper in terms of a documentary, but that's what you'd expect, really. You know how they talk about when he put the pistol to his head and did the Russian roulette thing?
Yeah.
Apparently Steve Hill beat the shit out of him there.
Really?
Yeah.
After that happened, he physically
like during
gave him physical body blows.
Body blows.
Yeah.
Cowboy.
It was a profound film. It's a brilliant film. I think it was just absolutely stunning, in terms of the story, and I think it was a really, maybe, I don't know if because you could have taken a different route telling Townes' story. You know what I mean? You could have talked. I mean, it's a sad story. No matter how you look at it, you'd have to, But
they never talk much about
the good times.
There
were no good times.
All the music, much.
Yeah, all the music. Yeah, that's what I mean. You could have focused more on the songs,
and the career. And,
and
kind of.
But it was
just
just
over it.
Yeah, it was just relentless.
Yeah.
It was absolutely.
The only cheerful parts were kind of
harrowing.
Yeah, but the only cheerful parts was when they let him speak for himself. Really, that was kind of uplifting.
And that was what was interesting, because I think I found myself torn between wanting to idolize him as this haunted figure who was, had life was against him and fate was against him, and he'd struggled as a musician to make a living, and he'd struggled to be as famous as his peers, and he'd been forced into a mental institution and given shock therapy, and poor him. But actually, he made his choices along the way. You know what I mean? Like, he had exposure to recovery. He got sober and clean for different periods of time, and like his son said, because if you were his son, he would have been a shit dad, But you could tell his sons both loved him, but that he was never able to be there for them in any substantial way,
Yeah.
And so it was kind of like, on the one hand, he had brilliance in him, but he wasn't a brilliant man, I think that's what I would say.
Well, I guess idolizing would involve separating kind of his mythical qualities from the person he actually was to the people around him. Because he wrote those songs that obviously changed a lot of people's lives, and he led a life which a lot of people kind of, I guess they idolize.
Totally, it's an iconic rock and roll life. It's an archetype, the
and when you think about anybody who's a kind of exponent of that archetype, and you look anywhere into their personal relationships, it's always fucked. Yeah,
totally, absolutely.
Like,
because part of it's about womanizing and leaving, and totally.
Yeah, totally.
And it is selfish, and it is. I was going to say, I guess the thing is, in terms of like the mythology, because for me, for some reason, whenever I think of like a mythical rock figure, I think of their intuitive wisdom. You know what I mean? Like, I think of them as being like a guide in some way, their songs as being a guide through life, and having wisdom to them, and like profound, innate kind of tapping into some amazing consciousness, like Bob Dylan or Neil Young, where you're tapping into some magical realm, and like, almost like a shaman, you're taking that universal wisdom and putting it out to the world in a way where any man can, any person can access it. And yet, when you look at him and the way he lived his life and the way he treated his family and the way he treated himself, there's really nothing of any value that he has to teach, except in contradiction of, what not to do.
Yeah, I guess with him, if you look at his sphere of influence, and you go right out to people like us who are on the other side of the world, he's probably affected us in the most positive way. And then when you get right down to to the
good
very nitty
call,
gritty.
bro. That's a really good way of looking at it.
Totally rock.
The closer you get to him, the
more-
worse his impact was.
It's
Yeah.
like eating an apple that's rotten in the middle.
Yeah, right. But nice on the outside.
Yeah, nice on the outside.
Because for us,
Simplicity.
he's just this brilliant kind of figure who's incredibly captivating and engaging and interesting and tragic, and it's a cathartic experience listening to his music and watching his life.
Like all
And
that
that's
fan mail.
inspiring. Yeah, totally. That's really true. But for his family, that's cool.
Yeah, well, no, not really.
For next, but what you can't see is off the side. He took notes during the film. That metaphor about
That's
the
me.
apple. That was well planned.
Yeah, I've been eating a lot of apples lately.
He's been practicing.
Been practicing.
Laughs like an apple.
We've
Towns Van Zant's like an
got a
apple.
good pickup line from the movie.
Oh, bro, check out this. His third wife goes to goes to the camp, goes to us through the power of modern technology. I said to myself, Lord, don't let this be my man. But when he plopped down on the chair next to me and he said, hello, darling, do you gamble? I knew it was it. That was it.
Yeah.
Fucking great line, man.
Did you say that whilst you looked into the camera?
I'm not sure if really I look into the camera a lot between you and the camera. Almost like, I'm trying to keep the cameras like
You're tearing yourself between.
I'm
between
torn.
me and the camera.
Well, I wanted to address it more at the camera than you, yeah. So what I was thinking is that I'm going to try and treat the camera like there's three of us having a conversation. Maybe we should put a head, like we'll cut out a head of it's one of our favourite rock stars. Just rather than actually invite him into the process, just cut out his head.
Well, he's not a camera.
No, I know, but it's funny that we are half of the band doing it, and instead of actually bringing John in and letting him be part of it, you're
Or rather an
suggesting
effigy, a surrogate.
yeah, a surrogate, so that we can kind of look at the camera as though it is another person. Because I don't mind people looking into the camera, in terms of.
We're not breaking the fourth wall.
No.
Well, it's alright to in this case.